In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, Lord of all the worlds, the one God to whom praise is due forever, the one who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and raised up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. How do you feel? Who do we want to hear? Are we going to bring them on? Yes, we're going to bring them on. Well, let us hear from our minister, Minister Malcolm X. Let us bring him on with a round of applause.
Brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that I charge the white man. I charge the white man with being the greatest murderer on earth. I charge the white man with being the greatest kidnapper on earth. There is no place in this world that that man can go and say he created peace and harmony. Everywhere he's gone, he's created havoc. Everywhere he's gone, he's created destruction. So I charge him. I charge him with being the greatest kidnapper on this earth. I charge him with being the greatest murderer on this earth. I charge him with being the greatest robber and enslaver on this earth. I charge the white man with being the greatest swine eater on this earth, the greatest drunkard on this earth. He can't deny the charges. You can't deny the charges. We're the living proof of those charges. You and I are the proof. You're not an American, you are the victim of America. You didn't have a choice coming over here. He didn't say, black man, black woman, come on over and help me build America. He said, nigga, get down in the bottom of that boat and I'm taking you over there to help me build America. Being born here does not make you an American. I'm not an American, you're not an American. You're one of the 22 million black people who are the victims of America. You and I, we've never seen any democracy. We ain't seen no democracy on the cotton fields of Georgia. Wasn't no democracy down there. We didn't see any democracy on the streets of Harlem, in the streets of Brooklyn, in the streets of Detroit, and Chicago. Ain't no democracy down there. No, we've never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare.
After Malcolm X came back from Mecca, that's when things started to get a lot more tense and a lot more, crazy in terms of his home life. Now, I remember your mother had done an interview where she said that, before the actual assassination, that there were 3 different attempts on your father's life. Now, was that accurate?
If that's what she said, that was accurate.
Okay.
If that's what she said. Again, the attempts, it wasn't because of something that was going on between the nation. It was because he had gained the support of 33 heads of African, states, and their agenda was to bring the issue of human rights violations to the Supreme Court at the United Nations. And so he was killed shortly after, as were a few other people.
Okay, because one of the things that he mentioned was that when he was in Mecca, he was being watched,
right,
and he was being followed, and
right,
he felt that it was by the CIA.
Right.
Do you think that's what happened?
Well, I wasn't there, but I believe whatever my father says.
Yeah.
And so his point was that he wasn't being followed by the Nation of Islam. When they say that, his own people killed him, it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. What matters is who organized this assassination, unfortunately.
Okay. Now, when your father was killed, you were actually there in the audience.
My sisters and I were there, but we were babies. I wasn't quite 3 years old. I was 2. I hadn't turned 3 yet. and my oldest sister was 6. My, Attila was 6, Kabila was 4, I was 2. My mother was pregnant with the twins, and I believe my sister, who was a baby, was left with our babysitter, our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you started to get older and, you remember more of what happened, what was really the effect of your family witnessing something so horrific? Because, your mother obviously remembers it all, but, you had older sisters that had some sort of remembrance of this whole thing.
Well, my older sisters, Attila and Kabila, both remember very clearly, very vividly, seeing their father being killed. And, I always say that the noise for anyone, a baby, that has to have some sort of effect. But, one of my first book, Growing Up, X, speaks to all of that. And it speaks mostly to the will of my mother, how she managed to smile, in the face of her children, but was obviously in pain, behind closed doors. She had 6 babies. She raised each one of us. She sent us to the best schools that she could because she knew that education was very important. She didn't get any public grants or anything. She worked very hard to make sure that her husband's girls were properly educated, were properly self-sustaining, that they were proud to be women, that they were proud to be people of the African diaspora, that they were proud to be Muslims, in spite of everything in society that says these 3 categories are at the bottom of our social totem pole. And so, so I always take my hat off to her. She gives me courage, strength, lots and lots of love. She overprotected us. Yeah.
Well, your mother did an interview in 1994, and they asked whether Farakhan had anything to do with Malcolm X's death. And she replied, of course, yes. Nobody kept it a secret. It was a badge of honor. Everybody talked about it. Farrakhan denied that he had anything to do with it. He said, I never had anything to do with Malcolm's death, although he created an atmosphere that allowed Malcolm to be assassinated. But when you look at those 2 statements, what is your take on it?
My take on it is that it's very unfortunate that a lot of these members were very young. And I think sometimes, our humanity, kind of gets the best of us. We get a little envious of those who are being really progressive and getting a lot of attention. Unfortunately, we, do things that we regret when we're older. Clearly he did not pull the trigger, but he made no qualms about it that he knew it was going to happen. So I think it's just all very unfortunate, especially when you get older and you realize that this person had put his life on the line to save all of us. Not just for himself or his family. He never got paid. He didn't get a penny. He didn't ask for a penny in return for this work that he was doing for himself or his family.
Yeah. Well, Farrakhan had a speech at one point. He said, was Malcolm your traitor or ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours? A nation has to be able to deal with traitors and cutthroats and turncoats. And a lot of people say that was, him almost taking credit for that type of situation. I mean, when you heard that speech, how did you react to it?
I think, unfortunately, that, it's ignorance, that you're jumping ahead of, I think it's unfortunate. And I think that's why my father said, when they asked him, what is your agenda? Will you be spearheading this? And he said, no, I don't take ownership in leading anyone to do anything. That we all have to do this collectively, because he knew his brilliance, his just everything about him, his charm, he was a beautiful human being. And unfortunately, sometimes some people are envious of others and they want to cut them down and not look at the bigger picture. And so they allow themselves to be used to try and tear down the other and, all this other stuff. It still happens today, of course.
Yeah. Well, the group of people who were involved in your father's assassination, they all got 20 years to life in prison. And one of the guys, Thomas Hagen, is actually out of prison. I forgot exactly when he got released. Have any of them ever reached out to apologize? Because I know that they said at one point that they feel very bad about what they did. They left the Nation of Islam afterwards. Have you actually been in contact with any of these people?
Well, only one of the persons of the three that served is one of the persons who pulled the trigger. The other two did not. And there's another one who still lives in New Jersey, who worked for the police department. And he's still...
Wait.
Oh, you don't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh,
so you're saying
Google
one of the people involved in your father's assassination is now a police officer in New Jersey?
No. What I think, you can go online and Google New Jersey resident who assassinated Malcolm X.
Oh, wait, hold on. William Bradley. Okay. So have any of them ever tried to reach out to apologize or anything?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And there are also some, like if you Google Razak, what is it? Oh gosh, I can't remember. Abdul Razak, who his former name was James 67X, was my father's secretary. I'm on Twitter. I think I might have tweeted something about him. And he always says who the real triggermen were, and that they weren't in the Nation of Islam, and that they worked for, different entities. And, so I think that there's just so much that we will find out.
Okay, so when the men that were involved reached out to you, what was that conversation like?
There's so much information online. Abdul Razak, there's a lot of footage of him discussing the assassination of his former friend, leader, formerly James 67X, who recently passed away. There are plenty of people who talk about the persons who assassinated their friend, and that there was only one person who actually was arrested and charged that was involved, and the other two weren't. And even he says that.
Now your sister, Kubila, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Kubila, she was actually charged with conspiracy to kill Louis Farakhan.
She didn't go to jail. She didn't conspire to kill Farakhan. She went to the United Nations International School. There was another young man who went to school with her, Kirk Fitzpatrick. Kirk Fitzpatrick appeared out of nowhere. They were friends when they were in school, and he discussed it, and it was supposed to be a joke. And I think he must have been filming it, or he was recording what he was saying to my sister. And there you had that, all of that happen. It was really unfortunate because my sister, Kabila, her name means Mother Nature. She wouldn't kill a flea. She was the one who had the turtles, all the little insects and cocoons, that would become butterflies.
Many, including Dick Gregory, have many sound theories on the assassination of Dr. King. The real truth may come out maybe a few years down the road, and when it comes out, you're not going to feel too good about it. Like the real truth will come out one day soon about the murder of Malcolm X. It's too convenient for you to say Elijah Muhammad did it, the Muslims did it. It's too convenient. When the real truth comes out, and I'll tell you what the real truth is, it's that same government that will give you a holiday for a man is the same government that killed the man. It's that same government. In my short meeting with Sister Betty Shabazz, she spoke for a few minutes, and in that few minutes that she spoke, I understood that there's something about this whole drama that I don't know, because I don't know her side. And if you don't know her side, and if you don't know what she went through, and if you don't know why she made the decisions that she made, how can we say we know the truth? We know our side, but we don't know her side, and we may not know all of our side, but the government knows all of the sides. So let's open the files up. Let us all see. Lying demons. They know that Farakhan had nothing to do with the murder of Brother Malcolm X.
Listen what they told us. They told us that Malcolm X's daughter, see, I don't deal in friendship. Did she do it or not? Deal in logic. Here's a woman here in New York City. She decides she's gonna kill Farakhan. She leaves New York where all the murderers are. They got people that'll kill somebody you just to practice because they know they're going to kill somebody on July the 4th. They just want to practice. She leaves New York, all the murderers, and goes to Minnesota where they ain't even had a drive-by shooting to hire a white boy to kill one of the most guarded brothers. We don't even have to deal with that. I knew Malcolm. I loved Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you. Okay. And I'm not going to be there. I love you. I don't even want to take a chance of my heart changing. So I went to Chicago. And when they came and they told me Malcolm's been killed today, I got back on the plane and came back here. Malcolm was killed because of another brother named DePinto. A lot of people thought he was African, but he was East Indian. He was born in Nairobi. He's the one that changed Malcolm's head from black nationalist to Pan-Africanism and made that connection from here to there. And the government said, we can't let this happen. He's the one that persuaded Malcolm when he went to African stage 7 weeks and met with all the real leaders. And then he's the one that discussed with Malcolm of bringing racism to the doorsteps of the UN. And as Malcolm was being shot dead in New York City, DePinto was being gunned down in Nairobi. All right. Same time. All right? Same time. So don't tell me about no black Muslims.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
The same time. Same time. Malcolm was being gunned down. Now, let me finish this. How this white racist system treats black folks. The black folks that they got to kill Malcolm, Malcolm was standing on a stage like I am. They threw a smoke bomb in the back. When everybody got to watching the commotion, the brothers ran up with double-barrel shotguns and shot him. But under the Freedom of Information Act, we were able to get the autopsy of Malcolm, and all the bullets in Malcolm is going down. Now, I can't stand on this stage and y'all down there pointing up, which means the government has such a low view of those black folks that would do it. They didn't even give them real bullets. They gave them blanks. Malcolm was shot from the ceiling top. And also under the Freedom of Information, the CIA have been forced to admit that they rented the Audubon Ballroom a week before. And that's when they went in there and tore them walls out and put them guns in the wall and shot him from a downward projection. That's what this game is about.
And I don't believe there's a leader, a person that is over others, that has been attacked as viciously as the media has attacked Brother Farakhan. And for nearly 30 years, at least 28 or 27, the federal government has tried to get me into their courts by making some of our believing brothers and others who were not believers lie to give them power to take me. I've endured this for 27 years now. I don't have time to go into the details, but it started right here in Houston with the murder of one of the ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a vicious murder that they were trying to pin on me. Did you hear me? Yes, sir. Those of you who were around, you know. All the time that they were in court, they were aiming for me. Allah protected me. Even when they raised Brother Malcolm to almost the position of a saint in America, at the same time that they raised Brother Malcolm, they raised Brother Farakhan as one who was guilty of his murder. If they knew that I had some part in it, since there is no statute of limitations on murder, why didn't they arrest me? They knew that I had nothing to do with that. But here's what they were hoping. Young men like these brothers here that didn't know Brother Malcolm, only knew him from books and tapes, and grew to love Brother Malcolm. Then if you thought or believed that Farakhan had something to do with the murder of your saint, since he's arming you, that maybe you would come against the nation with your guns and in the process kill Louis Farakhan, and then the enemy would have no problem with Brother Malcolm because he's already dead, and you kill Farakhan, who looks like he's rising to be the heir of Malcolm's legacy, and he's alive. Let's make him dead. See, the enemy is always working, brothers and sisters, and he's always planning and plotting for you to do his dirty work. And since you didn't do it, now he got to come out himself. And that's what we've been waiting for.
Considering today's standards of raising animals, of curing meats, I don't fully understand this as I think I should, the restriction that we have on pork.
Sister. All right, I'll explain it to you. No, I'll do even better than that. I'll show you, but this is purely in the interest of science, you understand. Here we have the eastern mole and the brown rat. Yes, my old friend the aardvark. And here we have the bush pig, as it says, closely related to the domestic pig. Now, do you know why Mr. Muhammad teaches us not to eat from the pig?
Well, the pig contains certain disease-causing organisms.
Right. Right, you're exactly right. Now, that's the physical aspect. There's also the mental or psychological aspects, and there's the spiritual reasons why we're not supposed to eat of the pig. Look at the characteristics of a pig. He's sloppy, he's greedy. Greedy like a pig, isn't that what they say? They also say you are what you eat. So what we put into our mouths affects our minds and our heart. We don't want to take on these characteristics of sloppiness, of uncleanliness, of selfishness. Now, from a spiritual aspect or a spiritual standpoint, the Bible and the Quran teaches us that it is divinely forbidden for us to eat of any pig. In various chapters in the Bible and the Quran, it talks about this. So from a physical standpoint, from a mental or a psychological standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, we don't want anything to do with this animal.
These are the questions. These are the questions you and I have to ask. How did we get this mind? You're not an American. You're an African who happens to be in America. You have to understand the difference. We didn't come over on the Nita, the Pinta, and the whatchamacallit. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Landed right on top of us. Shorty? Is that you, brother? Praise be to Allah. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind. This brother and I, we had the slave mind. We used to rob together. We used to sleep with white women. We even went to prison together. Now, don't be surprised when I say we went to prison, because some of y'all still in prison right now. Prisons of your mind. Stand up, brother. Come on. The brother's a little shy. Come on, brother, give me a hug. Yo, that's all right, brother. That's all right. Look, he still got his hair fried. That's all right, though. That's the slave mind. That's the slave mind.